Hey friends, welcome to the second part of the series, that is Streamlit, and we are creating some of the dashboards in Python and using Streamlit as one of the tool. So we saw in the previous video why Streamlit, and which is very important for us to understand. And possibly there are three reasons. One was the kind of analysis. Second, it gives us flexibility to have one code for both front end and back end, and obviously the ease of handling that we have. Also, in the previous video, we saw the installation for the Python and the VS Code editor and also run our first Streamlit program. Now in this video, we will create two sort of dashboards. One is basically a single page dashboard, another is a multi-page dashboard. So we will start with the VS Code editor. So this was our VS Code editor in the last time, and this was our first app which we had created. Okay, so we'll continue with it. Now in order to create app, we will require some data. So what I have done is I have opened Kaggle. Okay, Kaggle open data sets, and you can download any sort of data that you want to try, or you can have your own data, whatever suits you. So the data that I've downloaded is basically a comparison between the mobile prices. So basically we have brand, model, price, RAM, storage, camera, battery, display size, and all these sort of things. Okay, so we will create a dashboard for this data particularly. So we will start with the first one, it is single dashboard data. So what I'll do is I'll create a new file, and let's name it as page1.py. Okay, now see, creating dashboard using data in Streamlit is all about writing Python codes. Okay, Streamlit basically gives you flexibility that you can use the same code for both front end and back end, and whatever the calculation you do on tables, okay, in Python, okay, the same could be displayed in the front end without any learning new language. So what I'll do is okay, uh, so for example, the very first thing to import Streamlit as st. We have already installed Streamlit in the last lecture, so we are importing it as Streamlit. Okay, we'll import Pandas as we are working in Python, and maybe NumPy if you want to have something. Okay, let's define the title. So how we will write is, so basically we want to write something here and wanted to display in the front end. Okay, so how we are going to write is, what you can do actually is, you can open a Streamlit. Okay, you can go to documents, this one, documentation of the Streamlit. Okay, so this is what it will open up. Now in develop under API reference, okay, you have everything. If you see, so for example, if I want to write something and I open it, it simply says st.write hello world, and it will display hello world in the front. Okay, so I'll just show you. Okay, so for example, I'm saying st.title, I'm giving title. Okay, and it says mobile set comparison across the world. So for example, okay, now the terminal is already live. Okay, if the terminal is not live, oh sorry, so the name of the file is page1.py. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll cancel it out, control C, py 3.12. Okay, module streamlit run page1.py. Okay, so if you remember the last lecture, I told about you that Streamlit is supported in 3.13 or below 3.13. So if you already have 3.14, you have to install a version smaller than 3.14, specify it here, the version that you want to use it, and then run Streamlit run the file name. If you already have 3.12 as a default version, simply write Streamlit run page1.py. Okay, if I run it, uh, so we have this mobile site comparison across the world. This is the title that we have given. Okay, now say in order to do analysis, I will upload a file. So one thing that I can do is I can simply paste my file here. Okay, and can do all the analysis, but I'm assuming that you would be hosting it in the front end in some sort of server that would be live across any time, and that we will see in the third part of this series. Okay, So right now what I want to do here is I'll define a function where I can upload file. Now once I give it a function, it doesn't matter if your laptop is on or off. Once you host it on a server, you can upload the file from any location. So for that, what I'll do is, again, see, for everything you should go to this documentation part. Okay, see, we had written this one, st write hello world. Okay, now in order to upload, okay, so what you can do is you can search for that. You can simply say, okay, write is this one, text is this one, data, for data element we have this one. So we have one thing called as input. Okay, so basically we wanted to give input, so input widgets. Okay, you can see button, link, checkbox, if you want to be whatever you want to have. The one that I'm talking about is basically a file uploader. Okay, we have here. Now this is a syntax. Don't worry if you don't know about it anything. What you can do is you can read it, or simply you can see an example that how to use it. So it simply say write two things, okay, and write this function. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just copy it. I'm not going to write anything. I know what to do. That's what I'm saying. Say, see, if I write this would be my output. So no need to remember anything. Just go to the documentation, search for the thing that you want. Okay, control C. Okay, come to this file and paste it. Okay, I pasted it, and control S. Again, go to your this main file, and you can see it has been here. Now I can click on browse. Okay, and once I browse it, I can see, actually I can choose any CSV file. Okay, so I'm saying it's a CSV file, mobile price. Open it up, and okay, it is displaying the data. You can see it's the same exact file. Okay, it's the same one. Now what you need to understand is what I have written here is upload file. Okay, upload file, and I have specified it's a CSV file. If you have any Excel file, that is .xlsx, then you can write, you can change it to CSV, from CSV to XLS. Now coming to the code part. Okay, so simply we have uploaded it. So you just make sure that it is your CSV file. Okay, just make sure it is. And then we are saying it that for the uploaded file, read it. Okay, pd.read underscore csv. Okay, and name it as df, data frame. Okay, so now onwards, whenever I want to do anything on table, I'll what I'll do is I will not say that the file name is mobile underscore price. What I'll say is I have performed this specific function on this data frame. Okay, so this Excel file, okay, you just need to understand this data. Okay, right now we have an Excel file has been converted into this one, which is a data frame. Okay, now I'll show you some two different ways to how you can create a dashboard. So I'm not saying that you should create a dashboard using. See, now what I'll show you is to how to do calculation in the Python, and the same thing will be reflected in the front end. Obviously, see, there could be a lot of analysis that you can do. That, for example, which brand versus which storage space is better, and you can have some sort of rating already there. So how many models of that particular brand has a rating greater than 4? That is one question. How many brands have released their models in quarter 1 or quarter 2, or how many are having Android, or how many are iOS, whether iOS is better than Android in terms of processing. So you can do all sort of analysis, whatever you want. See, based on the data that we have, the analysis will differ a lot. So for example, if I want to see that how many models that each of the brand has released, okay, for the year 2025. Say I'm interested in knowing, say, computing brand versus model count. It's just a random analysis. Okay, so see, I'm just writing everything in Python as of now. I'm saying that group by, and group by has to be from brands. Okay, it's just a syntax. Even if you don't know, you can simply go and Google, or any LLM model, chat GPT, and Gemini, anything. Okay, and you can simply copy paste the codes. Now say I want to give first some sort of heading that brands versus model count. Okay, so that heading is there, and I want to display the data frame. Okay, now see, I've created a new data frame which goes by the name of brand count, and this is what it is. Okay, so I want to display this brand count. Write brand counts. Okay, do control S. Okay, and just you can go here, you can simply rerun it. Okay, so now you can see that Apple has released 107 models in the year 2025. Google has released 116 models, okay, in 2025, and so on. Okay, and you can see here. Now, say for example, some other analysis that you want, that for this brand, okay, how many models are there for which I have a 5G support. So for example, this is one of the analysis or one of the data that you want to have. So simply you can go here. Again, it's the same Python code. So now, what I have done here is I've created a new table, okay, df underscore 5G underscore support, and I'm asking that create a new table where this value, that is 5G underscore support, is yes. Okay, and then do a group by. Okay, now once I have done a group by, what I can do is I just have to display it in the front. The name of the table is df underscore 5G underscore counts. Okay, just do a control S and rerun here if you want. I think it's already there. Okay, so you can see that Apple has released some 52 models in their 2025 which does support 5G support. Okay, Oppo has 56, Xiaomi at 55, and so on. So whatever the data you want to have here, you can create a dashboard, or you can put a filter, or you can put a button depending upon your requirement. Using this, you want to create a chart element, you want to create a uh, maybe say bar chart, or maybe a stacked bar, whatever you want, you can simply go there. You can create uh, something like this if you want. Now coming to the third part of the analysis. So if you see the data that we have, okay, we have brand, model, price, and everything. What I want to put up here is a filter for descriptive item like brand, a separate filter for brand, a separate filter for model, a separate filter for uh, OS, a separate filter for processor, and so on. So one thing that you can do is you can go to this documentation part. Okay, and there is an option called as a multi-select. I'll just show you, or you can search for it. Okay, huh. So this is a multi-select, and you can basically, if you don't want to read it, it is all fine, and you have to specify something like this. Now, since it's an open community, so there is a guy who has actually streamlined this entire multi-select option. Okay, so instead of having this sort of multi-select options, this guy has created something like this. Okay, and it's very useful to use. So what I'll do, I'll show you is, first go to your terminal and write this, that is pip install streamlit hyphen dynamic hyphen filters. So just go in terminal, write the syntax. Okay, pip install streamlit dynamic filters. Okay, see, I've already installed it, so it is showing to me that requirement already satisfied. If you are doing it for the first time, it will show installation successful. Okay, now once you have, see, what basically I've done is whatever the qualitative filter that I want to put in. So for example, brand is qualitative factor, OS, 5G support, processor, and release month. Okay, so just write down. I'll show you. So what does he says is, so he says that just write dynamic filters, dynamic filters, the same thing. Name of the table that we have df, okay, and filters equal to what? As these are the column labels, okay. Now just press enter, right, with sg at size bar dynamic filters dot display underscore filters, okay, and then dynamic filters dot display underscore df, okay, done. Just control s and don't forget to write it, okay. Pi 3.12 module streamlit run page one dot py, okay. And so as soon as you upload the file, so for example this one, and you can see we have all those filters, so I can choose what the brand I have: OnePlus, Samsung, Apple, and you can see the same thing changes, okay. Yeah, so you can see Apple, OnePlus, and Samsung, okay, that's it. We have, we can select OS. So for example, I'm interested in only Android, so it will get updated, and you can see only Android is here. We have 5G support, yes, and it will get updated, okay. So basically on the basis of this filter, okay, the table will get updated. Now remember, whatever the things that you want to have here, for example, you want to introduce buttons, you want to introduce clicks, you want to beautify this entire table, you want to introduce chart, whatever you want to have, you can go here, and you can take that and can paste the same thing here, and it will get reflected in the front end, okay. So this was all about the first page, okay.